What's up, everybody? Metal Dave here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we had the great pleasure of speaking to Chip Z'Nuff of Enuff Z'Nuff, and Jason told me he was a character, and you were right on the money.
He's
what
a
lot
maniac.
of fun.
Yeah, he's a maniac.
In the best way.
yeah. He's not he's one of the nicest guys that you could run into in a dark, dangerous alley. And he might save you. He could talk, whatever threat you had in that dark, dangerous alley, he could probably either kick their ass or talk them out of what they were trying to do, and then get them to give him $100 and share it with you.
Yeah, right. So, that's the impression I got. Yeah, exactly.
That's about right.
Yeah, he's in good humor and always has been, and I think that's probably one of the things that allows him to navigate the music business the way he does for as long as he's done it, 40 some years. And if you can't handle it with a certain degree of humor, the business will probably chew you up and spit you out. And he's got no shortage of humor. So we really enjoyed talking to him today. He's got a new album. Enuff Z'Nuff has a new album called Xtra Cherries. It's out on Cleopatra Records. And there's he's got a guest list on this album that's pretty impressive. He's got Neil Schon from Journey, Steve Stevens from Billy Idol's band, Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses, GN'R Nelson, Robin Zander, Robert Fleischman, who we've had on this show, the Talk Louder podcast. Robert was sort of an interim singer for Journey. He followed Greg Rowley and sang for Journey before Steve Perry came along. And as it turns out, no surprise, all these guys happen to be friends with Chip. So he just, called up a few people and called in a few favors, and they guested on the album and made some great music.
I want to talk about the Illinois, Wisconsin area scene, because Chicago alone is a live music capital of the world, probably even more so than Austin, even though Austin took that tag and put it on a T-shirt and sold it at the airport.
Right.
I feel like it's important to point out that Chip is just using his resources, and these are people that are in his phone that he says hi at the laundromat, Yeah. And we're talking 30, 40 years of friendships, probably, just because Enuff Z'Nuff and he and everybody that we're kind of talking about is from an area that is huge in pop music and rock music and metal music, has venues on every street. And that in a way that's becoming rare. So he comes from this area where there's a lot of people that are a lot like him, and I think he surrounds himself with the same animals. I almost said dinosaurs. Sorry, Chip. So the cool thing is he has all these old school guys playing on his record, And I'll point out that at some point in this interview, if you look over Chip's shoulder, you will see, yes, that's Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death. The guitar player from Life, Sex, and Death is sitting there on his phone wearing his glasses, just chilling out behind him. Like, we start talking about Life, Sex, and Death. He goes, yeah, I got Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death right here. I'm like, holy shit. I have that record, and so do you. Yeah, see what I'm saying? So this was really fun. And, really the only time I have a quick story. The first time that me and the Toys were at MTV Studios in New York, we were in like one part of the studio in our own dressing room. And then, we were going to do some kind of on-camera interview. And it was just a day of press. Well, we saw across the room over there was these two guys, and they were all glammed up. And I was asking, well, who is that? And, oh, they're in this band called Enuff Z'Nuff. So that was the first time I ever heard of Enuff Z'Nuff. It was the first time I ever saw anything that I would can't unsee that would either remind me of those, big floppy hats and giant sunglasses and flowered plaid jackets and shit like that. And that would have been Chip. And we just had the dude on our shows. And then, just seeing him out on the road sometimes, anytime the toys would go through Chicago, he would try to make a point to at least stop by, watch the first couple songs, say hi. And for years now, I've been seeing him on the Monsters of Rock cruises, and he's fun. Not to mention high energy and a great songwriter.
Yes. Yeah, the new album, I told Chip, and I'll say it again, I've been listening to an advanced copy of it for a couple of days, and it is pure ear candy. It's what Enuff Z'Nuff is known for. Of course, people always point out the Cheap Trick and the Beatles influences, but I also hear a lot of like ELO. I hear some Queen. It's just big, catchy, hooky, memorable stuff. And the new album is chock full of that. It's called Xtra Cherries. It's out on Cleopatra Records. There was a couple things I learned today. I won't spoil it, but stay tuned to the episode. You'll find out who Chip's cousin is. By marriage, he said, just to not blow the whole thing. But but
wow, that's wild.
You and I both went, huh?
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Yeah. So that was a surprise. And, just a lot of good stories from the old days when, they're from the same class as Dangerous Toys. I think their debut album also came out in 1989. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were both doing press around the same time. We were both brand new bands, and, that was a long fucking time ago, but yeah, they've always been present. They've always done really well. And Chip's I didn't realize that. I thought it was as much Donnie as Chip, but Chip was kind of helping the motor run as well as Donnie, and has been a mainstay, of course. Yeah. When people think Enuff Z'Nuff, they think Chip now, even though Donnie, he and Donnie kind of created it. So, but it's glad to see that he's still out there doing it and writing great melodic music and staying very busy. He's also, and I knew this already, but he kindly reminds me, and I'm sure he'll remind me again. He is has a show on Monsters of Rock Radio, and that is directly related to Monsters of Rock Cruise. I didn't realize that it was a 24/7, 365 days a year with basically your favorite rock star DJing and telling jokes and doing whatever it is they do. And it's simulcast, obviously some kind of satellite channel. But I'm sure you can just look it up on the internet. It's internet radio for sure, but he's busy doing that. He does a show. I think I don't know how many times a week. I thought he said every day.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either, but it does occupy a fair amount of his time, as he was saying. I was totally unaware of the station, but it sounds really interesting. So people can look that up and tune in and catch up with Chip there as well. But yeah, great time today. He was a riot. I really enjoyed him. He seems like a really cool guy, super down to earth. Like that's a guy you'd want to hang out with. And
he's fun. He's very smart. He's very smart. Don't let the funny glasses and hats and, flour in his face and, funny shoes. I mean, he's dressed like a clown, but he's the real shit, man.
Yeah. He's another one of those guys we call a lifer. Just get in the van. Just get in the van.
Yeah.
Good time today. Enuff Z'Nuff has a new album out. It's called Xtra Cherries. It's out now. Chip's Enuff with us today on the Talk Louder podcast.
There he is.
Looks like we may be back, gentlemen.
All right.
If it's my fault on my end, I apologize.
No,
if it's your fault, I forgive you.
Yeah. Dave, this is classic Chip right here.
Yeah.
This is the man that everyone knows and loves right here. That's exactly him right there. We're into it. So you're on tour, you're busy.
Certainly have been. I have been the whole year, guys. I've been doing records with a lot of different people. The Dave Elfson record at Enuff Z'Nuff. I did a couple of songs with him. I did a whole record with the London Choir Boys, which I think was really good.
Wow, that's a good combination there.
Yeah, I've been really lucky and blessed to be able to make some music and go out on tour at the same time too. 140 shows last year with Enuff Z'Nuff.
Wow, that's nuts.
Which Jason knows is in this day and age is a miracle.
Yeah, that's hard to do. To stay out half the year is hard in 2025. So
yeah, and not only that, to still find time to record. I got my radio show. I'm on the Monsters of Rock 7 days a week. There's not one day that's really off during the year for me.
Right.
But that keeps the blood flowing and keeps things circulating.
Tell us a little bit about that Monsters of Rock radio. You have because I feel bad that I am some sort of alumni and I don't know anything about it. For our listeners at Talk Louder podcast, what does that entail? Do they have to just sign up? Is it just streaming free? What's Monsters of Rock radio all about?
Streaming free worldwide. The whole show is curated by musicians and rock stars. So Ryan Roxy's got his own show every single week from Alice Cooper.
Right.
Doro Pesha's on there. She's got her own show during the week. You also have Rachel Bullitt from Skid Row has his own punk rock show. It's on. I think he's on every Thursday. He's fabulous.
Nice.
Yeah. Also the guys in Quiet Riot, Rudy Sarzo, superstar. He's got a show. He's on every single week as well. And there's a couple other cast members on there, Claudia Comedy and Harlan Hendrickson. And it's 24/7, 365 days of the year, guys. It's A through Z, basically, the whole alphabet, the whole catalog of hard rock and heavy metal that we actually support and love. I think we have 97,000 songs. Play Dangerous Toys all the time, along with Queen. Can't go wrong right there. It's new and it's old, so you got, the bands like Rival Sons and Dirty Honey and Vintage Trouble mixed in there with the Metallicas and Cheap Tricks and all the great bands of the past. So
when you say vintage, when you say
great music,
I love it. When you say Vintage Trouble, my ears perk up. Are you talking about the Chicago doom metal band?
No, I love that band too. You're thinking about just the band Trouble.
I am. Vintage Trouble is what I like.
Yeah, that was a great band. We actually toured with them. They were our support act on the very first Enuff Z'Nuff run through North America when New Thing was a hit on MTV.
Yeah, I played shows with those guys in 1985.
They were a great band. Very underrated. Sort of had like a doom, gloom, Black Sabbath vibe to it, Chase.
Yeah, but they also did a sort of a Pink Floyd Beatles thing mixed in with it sometimes later on when Rick Rubin got a hold of them. But anyway, you said Vintage Trouble and I got excited. Is that the name of a new band? Vintage Trouble?
They've been around for a little while now.
Okay.
Doc McGee used to manage them.
Okay. Well, just know that if anyone says Vintage Trouble to me, I'm talking Metal Blade Records Trouble Doom from Chicago.
Yeah, fabulous band.
Sorry about that.
It was sad because they were on tour with us and we were colorful and flamboyant.
Yeah.
We had the MTV behind us. They didn't have any of that stuff. And they weren't getting this. I don't think they got the love they deserved on that tour, except from our band. We certainly appreciated them and respected them immensely. But that was you could tell it was a change of the guard at that time because of the bands that were being played on. If you can get any airplay on MTV or VH1 back in the old days, you were golden because there's such a huge audience. And if you were a band that wasn't getting any play, sometimes that would dictate what terrestrial radio would do for you, which means no airplay or played late at night. So they had a lot of trouble out there really getting their foothold. But man, we had wonderful times out there playing those shows and then traveling around the Oscar Mayer Wiener Wagon and smoking joints with them. And they loved this thing. They were a band that loved to get stoned. But they were, at the end of the day, they got up on stage and that stuff was powerful and heavy. And it was Black Sabbath 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry that I got us started on a tangent of the most awesome Chicago bands in the world, but that's okay. Hey, listen, so you've been making a lot of records and you're out touring with Enuff Z'Nuff, the current lineup and everything. And are you supporting new Enuff Z'Nuff?
Yeah, it's got
it's a brand new record. Although we're not playing the whole record in its entirety, it's a mixture of all what we've done in the past up until now. I mean, we're playing songs off of the Xtra Cherries record, of course. But I'm going back to the first album, and New Thing and Fly Michelle and Indian Angel, and the second album. I'm mixing it up and some great songs in there as well. Every single night I'm doing Love Train off Animals of Human Intelligence, and I think it's a celebration of what I've been doing for the last 40 years, bro.
Yeah.
Just trying to play as many songs as possible in a 2-hour set.
Well, I don't think legacy is a bad word. And I think that's what you're doing. You're showing all your stripes, not just your new ones.
Yeah, I don't want everybody to go to the bathroom for a half an hour, I don't want them to hear these songs. We have a great label, Cleopatra, and they're actually playing the record. They're getting some airplay and pushing things around for us. So I've been doing a Brinks truck full of press on this album, which is great, and staying real busy. And lo and behold, maybe we're the critics' darlings, which means lack of album sales in the past. But we certainly are getting a lot of love around the country, and there's some good stuff that's coming up for us that I'm real excited about sharing with everybody.
Well, the new album, it comes out July 25th, so by the time people are watching and listening to this episode, it will be out. The album is called Xtra Cherries, and as you've mentioned, you've been doing this a long time. It's your 21st studio album. It's on Cleopatra Records. And besides having a new lineup on this album, you've also got a whole roster of guest players and guest stars. Neil Sean is on here. Steve Stevens is on here. Gunnar Nelson is on here. Steven Adler's on here. And I was surprised to see Robert Fleischman, who we've had on this show, who was he was the vocalist for Journey at one point, in between Greg Rowley and Steve Perry. So tell me how some of these guest stars came. You got Robin Zanders on your record. That makes sense. I assume you guys are friends after all these years. But
friends with all these cats.
Yeah. How did some of those were expected. Steve Stevens kind of struck me as I wasn't expecting that. How did he come into the album?
Steve reached out to me on Instagram, actually. He was listening to Little Steven's Garage Radio. He's a big fan of Little Steven. Of course, we all are. And Steven's got his own record company, Wicked Cool Records. And he's got a station, and he plays a lot of new and old stuff. It's a mixture between 60s stuff all the way down till today. It's a really astute musician, songwriter, and just a guy who just loves music and wants to get it out there to the right people. And he reached out to me, Steve Stevens, I should say, and said, I was just listening to you on the radio, and I heard one of your songs called Man Without a Heart. He goes, God, you guys write such great songs. What are you doing now? I said, I'm recording a new record right now. And, man, I'd love to have you play on it. Now, I've known Steve for a long time. He almost joined Enuff Z'Nuff back in the early 90s. We just didn't have enough money to pay the guy.
Wow.
Because we were going through some tough times with our old guitar player. And we thought, well, maybe we'll make a little change and try to clean things up. But we did. We kept things the way they were, and Steve and continued to stay with Billy Idol. But at that time, we had a big contingency of record company people and music people that were really behind Enuff Z'Nuff. A great management company at that time in the early days. We had, of course, the great Doc McGee was managing the band early in our career. And then from there, we had Herbie Herbert, who managed Journey. So to make a long story even longer, I told Steve I'd love to, you're playing a track. And he goes, send me a couple things. And I sent him Magnificent. And he, 5 minutes later, got back to me and says, man, this is a great track right here. He goes, I'm going to put some guitars on here for you, Chip. And then he called back and he says, you know what? I'm going to put some leads on here as well. So he played all the rhythms and all leads on it, which is fantastic, along with my guitar player, Jason Camino. And then from there, he goes, I got some ideas on arrangement-wise. And he showed me some stuff that he did in the studio where there's some dropouts I thought were fantastic. It really made the song. Gave us some peaks and valleys. And when we voila, within a day we were finished with the track. I think it's a strong one on the record. It shows a different side of Enuff Z'Nuff. It's probably one of the heavier songs on the album. And we're not a metal band. We're not just a hard rock band either. We're really, at the end of the day, more of a pop band with balls. And I think that's Steve recognized that as well. And he gave me everything he got. Man, I'm so proud to have him on the album. And it's a single, actually. Record companies put that one out as one of the singles on the record because that's the day and age we live in, where you go 4 or 5 songs deep before you put the record out. So that was the second single. The first one was a song called Heavy Metal that I wrote years ago that finally showed its face. And another strong rock song about faith and hope and moving forward, having a good time and burning the candle at both ends. And that's what most of our songs are about anyway. At the end of the day, it's about everyday experiences that we went through as a band, and perhaps the audience has as well.
Yeah, I love heavy metal. Man, you truly are a master of memorable melodies and catchy choruses, because I'm listening to Xtra Cherries, and you've made a career out of this. But it's just one song after another. It's just like ear candy stuck in my brain after the first listen. And
well, I grew up listening to the pop and rock bands from the past. It was for me. It was Beatles and Queen, but it was also Captain Beyond and bands that were and of course love Cheap Trick and Aerosmith. But I love Mott the Hoople and Squeeze and Donnie and myself in those early days writing those songs, and we were influenced by a lot of different stuff, but we weren't paying attention to what was big on MTV at the time. We just wanted to write songs that tripped our trigger, and perhaps everybody else might get a chance to take a listen to them and dig them. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we've had such a long, illustrious career, is the fact that we've always focused, even though it was a band that had a propensity to get in trouble at any single moment, at the end of the day, when it came to the songs, that was our main focus and center of attention.
Yeah.
What about Robert Fleshman? Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no,
how'd you get Robert on there?
I've known Robert for years. Enuff Z'Nuff shared management with Journey in the early days, where Herbie Herbert, as I said, was our manager, and he did a great job for starting managing the band. The second album, Strength, and at that time was a change of the guard. You guys, it was tough for us. The first record went gold, and the second album came out. We were picked in Rolling Stone's the hot band of the world. We own a rider on the cover, and as we were in great company with people, hanging out with people, crossing paths with the Aerosmith and Robert Plant and all these cool guys. And we really had a wonderful opportunity right there. But then there was a change in the guard in the music business when Nirvana and Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains came out, all great bands, and everything stopped all of a sudden for us. It's really a difficult time. But I was friends with Robert. And we had a wonderful relationship, and he called me when he did a solo record called Emotional Atlas.
Yeah.
And it was mostly like an EDM record, It was a lot of boom synthesizers.
We've talked to him about that, and it was awesome having him on the show and hearing about the old stuff and his old stories and everything, and how he sort of came to be, and his days with Journey and decisions that he's made, and him like stepping aside in a few different instances, but always for being busy, and it's awesome. I can see you guys being friends. You guys probably have a lot in common as far as the way you write.
Well, we do. In his day, he was going out and touring around the country, and he was definitely we both witnessed and experienced promiscuity and substance abuse in different ways, though. Robert loved his LSD. I loved my marijuana. So that was something that we can chuckle and talk about in the old days with him touring around with the Journey guys and Enuff Z'Nuff, just trying to get through traveling around the Oscar Mayer Wiener wagon. But when I did that Emotional Atlas record, which, by the way, folks, is a fantastic album, it really is.
Yeah.
Robert's pipes are right on board. I drove out to Wisconsin and played bass on 10 songs in one day. It was really, really a great experience for me. So it opened the window. So when I found this track that I had from years and years ago of Neil Sean traveling to Chicago with the great late Herbie Herbert, I was producing a record called the Cyclops Blues Band. I think you can find it on Guitar Recordings. And me and a guy named Dave Denny were the producers on the record. And Neil came out. We just did 2 songs in the studio at Chicago Recording Company. And we had a little bit of time left over. And it was Herbie's suggestion, hey, you guys ought to get in the studio and record something. And we tracked one song in like an hour or two. And it's all live, you guys. It was, nowadays with the advent of the internet and Pro Tools, you can just put a record together pretty simplistically. But in this day and age, when we were making stuff back in the 90s, it was, a 2-inch tape, was all analog. You got in the studio, the drummer counted off the 4 and you played. And that's the beauty of this track right here. It's a live recording in the studio, maybe the first or second take that we didn't do it. We only were in the studio for a couple hours of this wonderful song called Shine. And there was no lyric at all on it. It was just the melody from the music. And I reached out to Robert Fleischman and said, man, I'd love you to play on it. Wouldn't it be cool? Because you co-wrote all these songs with Neil Sean back in the early days. We Own the Sky and Anytime. Be cool to get together and have you sing on this track. And he flew to Chicago, and within an hour we were finished with the song. That's how quick it was. He's a wonderful songwriter. Came up with great melody line and killer lyrics. And we both sang together in the same time, same room, and we come up with a great song here. And I thought it would be something to share with the audience. It's going to certainly help elevate our perception as a band, but more importantly, all those diehard Journey fans and Vinnie Vincent fans get a chance to hear these guys playing together. It's really a magical moment.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Donnie V's on that track as well, isn't he?
Of course, Donnie was in the band back when we recorded the song. He just played piano on it. That was it. And his piano playing's a real honky tonk. He's from old school. He loved Billy Preston in the old days and Stevie Wonder. And he's not fancy, but boy, he's tasty and he's melodic. And it was basically one take, like I said, of him just bashing on a piano. I don't even know how he hurt himself because he had me playing the bass. He had that Marshall, the stack in there that Neil was playing through with his old Les Paul and big drums in there. Pretty hard to maneuver when you're in the studio and you're all playing on headphones. But you listen to the track and you go, you know what? There's some continuity that's right here.
Yeah. And speaking of past versions of the band, Derek Frigo appears on the new album, Xtra Cherries. How did that happen? Is that a leftover studio track that you were able to weave into this new song, or?
Basically, I'd like to say that it was a leftover studio track, but it's a song that I had that I recorded for the record. I sang on it, and there was a part in there where I thought, but maybe we should have some other guitar in here. So I was able to get all my recordings that I had from the past, from DAT tapes and 2-inch tapes over in my library at the Z'Nuff Studios. And I was able to pull a solo out of there that just seemed to fit absolutely perfectly. And I wanted to share that beautiful recording with the audience. I probably have 3-4 hours of Derek Frigo guitar solos on some DAT tapes and 2-inch tapes at my crib. And I was able to manipulate a solo out of it. And it's basically Derek just playing, and there's no really cutting up anything because, he would just play for hours and hours. We'd sit in those studios in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin from 2 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the morning, just doing cocaine and drinking and hanging out with people and Derek just blowing solos. It was really wonderful moments. And all the bands would come by there too because we had the Monster Rock there in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So you'd have the guys from Kingdom Come and Cinderella and of course, Eddie Van Halen's people and Van Halen. Everybody would come by that studio. It's all called Royal Recorders. It's in Lake Geneva. It's the old Americana Hotel. All these musicians would come by and hang out with us. Cheap Trick. And, we'd sit in the studio and I'd let Derek just play. And we'd sit in there and fascinated by his unbelievable sense of balance and technique. He's a fabulous guitar player. So it's nice to be able to share him on the track. And same thing with Rob, and I had him singing on my solo record on Cleopatra Records. It's called Strange Time. And I just took some parts off it and just ended up manipulating that recording a little bit and just have him setting up the chorus with singing the oh yeah parts. And you hear his pipes, and the guy could talk a dog off a meat truck. Just a wonderful singer.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great that you're keeping Derek's memory alive and his music alive, and that he's still very much part of the latest chapter of Enuff Z'Nuff. I saw the title Star Star, and I thought is that the Rolling Stones song? And I started looking through the credits, and I couldn't find any credits. And then I heard the song, and that's the Rolling Stones song. and Gunnar Nelson is featured on that track. Why that song? It's great. I'm just curious to know why you chose that one.
So it's actually called Starfucker, I think, but I didn't want to call it that on the record. I looked at it, I think it was on Goathead Soup, and it said Star.
That's right. Correct.
Yeah, I put it on there. Because for years and years, we've always been a band that's always been known to be influenced by the Beatles, which we're very proud of. We have a Beatle record that we put out years ago called Hard Rock Night, of all Beatles songs, 1967 through 1970. And it's a rock version of it, of course, playing through Mesa Boogie and Marshall amplifiers and big drums. And so it's a really strong record. It's done very good for us around the country because we get a chance to throw those Beatles songs in our set. But my management company from years ago, Bob Brigham and Ron Prozel, they have a company called Nighthawk, and they do all the production for all the big shows, all the LED lights and stuff that you see behind the stages for most of the rock bands that are out there right now. And they worked for the Stones as well. And it was Bob that actually came in, and Ron. They both love They all both love Beatles. They both love Rolling Stones as well. And they said, "Hey, you got to do a Rolling Stones song." And I said, that might not be a bad idea. And that was just one that I found. I thought I really set the tone. It was a promiscuous lyric. Right. Mick Jagger, very underrated when it comes to songwriting, along with Keith Richards. They've sold a lot of records, but those lyrics are just they're biting. Okay, they cut you like a knife.
Yeah.
And we bashed that song out one day, and then my guitar player Jason Camino, who used to play in the Nelsons, suggested, "Why don't we call Gunnar and see if he'll play some slide guitar on it?" And I did. They were writing a book. There's a book coming out about the Nelsons, exposing all their warts and scars, and they were totally into it because we toured with the Nelsons in the early days, following around Guns N' Roses and Skid Row, doing sheds and arenas back in the early 90s. So we had a friendship and a relationship, and they recorded a few Enuff Z'Nuff songs on some of their earlier records as well. So it was a pretty easy yes for us right there. And that's an underrated song for us to put on the record because it shows a side of Enuff Z'Nuff that people rarely see and hear.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that, people do. They point to the Beatles and Cheap Trick when they talk about Enuff Z'Nuff as being obvious influences of yours. But as you said, you're influenced by all kinds of great music, and it shows in your music. One of the influences I kind of hear on Xtra Cherries is ELO. I hear a lot of ELO going on in some of these tracks, especially Back to the Wall. I really like that one.
Thank you. Guilty as charged, okay?
Yeah.
You are what you eat in this music business, and Jason knows that too as well. You listen to stuff that influences you, and later on it seeps on through on your own songs. And as I've said a million times, probably pillage this from somebody that's big, a big, huge star like Joe Perry or someone that's very profound, prolific. Show me a guy without influences, and I'll show you a guy who hasn't written one note. So There you go. Maybe there's some ELO in there. I think there's some other stuff too. Along with ELO, there's a little Queen in there. There's a little bit of T-Rex.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's Enuff Z'Nuff in its broadest sense.
Well, I think Enuff Z'Nuff. I'm sorry, Dave, to hijack you here, but I think that you guys, in any lineup of what it is that you would call Enuff Z'Nuff, or a record, a live show, just anything, and we talk about influences. And you did mention, I'm sort of making a salad here. When you guys kind of came out, late 80s and then stayed busy, and you're still keeping busy, I think it's, and a lot of bands got lumped into something else, something that they weren't necessarily part of, but it was a trend. And I feel like you guys are one of the bands that, you hear it all the time about a label either passing our band or taking a chance on a band, but being uncertain about where they're going to put you, how they're going to sell you. And I feel like the Sunset Strip bands was an opportunity or you could just say the coattails of Guns N' Roses, tattoos and long hair, kind of glammed up, but kind of angry looking, kind of gang, looking, kind of dangerous for sure. Troublemakers, la la la. All lumped into this one fucking thing in basically the class of, 88 and 89, right? And you said it yourself a little while ago about how you're more of like a pop band with balls, right? you have all of this influence, you have all of this melody and all these beautiful harmonies and these beautiful chords put together that make this sort of like a floating rock song, if you will, and not necessarily something that's so heavy that it's going to turn somebody off. It's the melody that's keeping even the heaviest of headbangers interested. Am I on point here? Do you feel like you were kind of lumped in with the Sunset Strip and oh, they're not heavy enough, but what am I going to do with them? And oh, they're a pop band. No, they're a glam band. No, they're what do you have to say about that? Because I feel victim to that as well,
Well, Jason, just like bands like King's X or Dangerous Toys or Dan Reed Network or Jellyfish, we were all hard to categorize.
Yeah.
People didn't know. A lot of people were listening with their eyes instead of their ears.
Right.
So we've all had to tread that and find our road to salvation. And I think that luck is the resident of design. You just keep playing and you keep doing what you do, and you do it for love. I'm still on the road right now. I'm traveling all these years. I'm older than Moose Pussy. I'm not going to stop playing. I want to make music, and I love being with the cats that I can make music with.
Yeah.
And that's my oxygen at the end of the day.
Yeah,
and
man.
for all those other bands that were out there, they had a shorter run than us. I say God bless them. They went out there and they gave everything they got, and the music is still out there. We got the advent of social media, and people can get on Spotify and Deezer, and you can find your favorite bands. I'm still listening to stuff from the past. I still love all that old stuff. And
me too.
I was just listening to Captain Beyond just recently. Great band. They never got a chance to really break through.
Yeah.
Crack the Sky, John Plumbo.
Yeah.
A wonderful songwriter, singer. There's bands out there that have given everything they got. Sometimes you get a song and it helps your trajectory, but for the most part, I think at the end of the day, for any musician, anybody listening to this right now, make the music for yourself. Don't care about anybody else. Just play what you enjoy playing and what moves you, and then perhaps there'll be an audience to follow you later on. I'd hate to come out right now as a young kid playing, because it's tough with all the great bands that are out there, and it's just we're at a time right now where it's too much product, not enough demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
You have Dax Nielsen playing drums on the new album, Xtra Cherries. And Dax, of course, is the son of Cheap Trick guitarist Rick Nielsen. And Dax has also been a member of Cheap Trick for a number of years now, replacing Bunny Carlos. How did you manage to get him into the studio to record this record? I assume that it's another friendship based on Robbie's.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly is. Dax also plays at Portugal the Man as well. He's been in Cheap Trick for years. He played on Enuff Z'Nuff Brainwash Generation. He's also on the Finer Than Sin record that came out in 2023. And that's why I call him on this record, because the guy's got a wonderful take on how songs are working with Cheap Trick all those years. He's a writer himself. He's a fabulous musician, a great signature. We have a wonderful friendship, and I reached out to him. He played on drums on most of the record except for Zillion Miles Away, which is featuring Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses.
Right.
Steven used to live with me, and I played in Adler's Appetite for about 7 years. And I lived with him in Studio City as well. We had wonderful times. I know a lot about cartoons now because he loves Family Guy, American Dad, and South Park. Those are his three favorite. Don't touch the TV when you're with Steven, okay? That's all he wants to watch.
Right.
How did you two survive each other? I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was a miracle, okay? It's incredible. We had wonderful times. We never had a falling out. I left the band because his brother was a jagoff and wanted to surround him with a bunch of 15-year-old kids from Tokyo to play behind him. He thought Steven had one more chance in him, and he wanted to have him with young kids. So I sashayed, and I gave the old George Harrison All Things Must Pass, and I moved on. And I went back to Enuff Z'Nuff, obviously, because I was double dipping during that time. But our friendship is still great to this day, and I think he's pretty happy because I'm on a tour with a band called Pretty Tied Up, and it's a GN'R experience. It's a wonderful musicians, and we go out every single night playing nothing but Appetite for Destruction, and we crush in every single city we play. So I think Steven, maybe he might be a little cantankerous right now, which is a nice way of saying a little jealous, but we still have a wonderful friendship to this day. He sends me texts all the time with emojis, telling me how much he misses me and loves me. And I also want to mention that Daniel Benjamin Hill, the old drummer from Enuff Z'Nuff, is playing on the first single, Heavy Metal. It's him playing drums. I didn't see it on disco, Maybe Discro changed that now. But he was fabulous drumming on that. We did that recording over at a place called Stone Cutter Studio with a guy named Chris Steinmans. And Chris is responsible for engineering and recording the Revenge record for Kiss. And
Wow.
So we got some good people. I've surrounded myself with winners. So then I appear to be one as well.
I have a simple question. How many hours a night do you sleep?
Well, I'm sharing a room right now with the great Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, particularly rubbing his back.
I see him waving.
We have.
I love Alex. I was a big fan of that record. I saw LSD in Austin at the Back Room. I always heard about them. I think I saw LSD play. God, it might have been somewhere. It was in Chicago. It might have been like, I don't know, outskirts, maybe the Thirsty Whale, somewhere weird like that. Anyway, I still have that record. I love it. I'm a tank.
That Life, Sex, and Death record changed it for a lot. Dude. That record influenced a lot of people. If you listen to bands like Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, those cats give the nod and they tip their hat to that record. That band was ahead of its time, okay?
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
And unfortunately, the band imploded, but it was obviously a good enough band to get signed by Warner Brothers. And those songs are still timeless to this day. As a matter of fact, Corey from Slipknot just recorded Tank.
Oh, really?
So it just shows you how much gas, no pun intended, is in the tank on those songs because they are just brutally honest and it's politically incorrect. And that's what I love about rock and roll. No rules, no regulations, no handcuffs.
Well, if it's not dangerous, it's not rock and roll. So
did you absolutely they were dangerous.
Was there any? Sure. You've got all these guests on this new album. Was there anybody that you reached out to that you were hoping to get on the album that couldn't do it for some reason or another?
Richie Kotzen, I wanted to try to get on there. I thought he'd be great. I had Joel Hoekstra on my last solo record, Perfectly Imperfect, and he's played great as well. But he was real busy. But I knew what the guys were doing, so I didn't bother anybody. I wanted to get my cousin Mike Portnoy on a track, but he played on the Brainwash Generation record. I thought, maybe if I ask him to play another record right now.
Wait, Portnoy is your cousin? Portnoy is your cousin?
That's correct, yeah. On my wife's side of the family, Kate.
Oh, that's hysterical. Wow.
Yeah, so I call him on the phone to play on that record, and he says, oh, yeah, I'd be glad to. I'll bring out my old Ringo kit, Chip, and I'll play on it. And
nice.
I said, oh, man, it's so cool that you're going to do that. How much do I owe you? He says, we're family. That was it. There's the cave. Didn't cost me anything. Any other time he doesn't get out of bed. He told me he does not get out of bed for under 10K.
Wow. Well, all right.
Hey, that's good work if you can get it.
That's right, man. He can quit his job at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, right.
Well, it depends. If you're a local drug dealer around 7-Eleven, you can make a lot more money than that.
Sounds like experience talking there.
Chip, where do you buy your sunglasses and all your hats, dude? You've got the most impressive collection of sunglasses and hats I've ever seen.
I just thought I thought it was glued
Camden
on.
Underworld. Go to Camden Underworld, right down the street from the old the Underworld in England, London, and you can find all those shops on the street. You can find the coolest hats, the old John Lennon caps. They call them the mushroom caps. You get great scarves, killer sunglasses, and I gotta be honest with you, the fans give me a lot of stuff too, bro. I get gifted a lot of beautiful gifts, and I try to hang on to what I really love, and I bring it with me on the road, and not share it with anybody because they'll break them.
That's awesome, man. I had to ask if you just pick them up along the way while you're out on tour, or if there's a particular spot that you shop or buy from, or so it's Camden Underworld.
Camden Underworld. You can't go wrong with those old shops out there. That's where all the guys in Hanoi Rocks would do their shopping to get those finer than sin threads.
There you go. And
there's other shops around the country as well too, but that's where I like to go to. I've always enjoyed my time over in England.
So Xtra Cherries, what's the story behind the title?
All the players that are on the record pretty much sums it up right there. Great musicians from wonderful bands that have taken time out of their busy schedule to assist and collaborate with me on this record. But I had a friend of mine who was in Milwaukee. We were staying over at the Pfister Hotel, and he was drinking Manhattans all night. And he spilled his drink and those Xtra Cherries all over the ground. He goes, look at this, a bunch of Xtra Cherries on I can't use these anymore. And I thought, man, that might be a nice title for the record. Shout out to Eric out in Milwaukee for
nice,
the wonderful title.
For spilling his drink.
Yeah, for spilling his drink, and we had to call him we had to get him an Uber to get home because he couldn't walk. He was 3 sheets to the wind. He came in as one of those kind of guys, he was like his school teacher slash churns butter in wintertime over in Amsterdam. But what he did was at the end of the day, he turned into Otis Campbell from Mayberry RFD, and we took him home, and I stole the title from him, and we're even now.
I love it. I love it. So you mentioned earlier a tour that you did back in the day with Trouble, and I'm curious when, because Enuff Z'Nuff, like Jason was mentioning, was kind of hard to categorize when you came out, but you were very successful. So were there other tours where you just didn't understand what are we on tour with these guys for? Or was there any tough audiences because you were paired up with somebody that didn't make sense? I'm just wondering where Enuff Z'Nuff, where they try to put you in 1989, 1990 when you're trying to tour.
Yeah, they tried to put us on quite a few tours. We did the Badlands tour with Jake Healy and Ray Gillen. That was a great one right there.
Yeah,
where they taught us what to do and what not to do. The band was on fire every single night. Of course, we were supporting them. We were opening for them, but at the time we seemed to have a little more success because we had MTV playing the New Thing video, and that certainly helped us a lot. And I had to give out approximately 3 bottles of tetracycline and erythromycin to those guys because they liked their penicillin and they liked their antibiotics for some reason. But that tour, that was really a lesson in fertility. There was a band that really they had so many good songs and it was such great musicianship. But it just goes to show you, if radio's not playing your stuff and MTV wasn't adding your records, you were behind the 8 ball. That was a tough one for them. Right after that tour, though, we had the Motley Crue tour. I thought that was something that might have worked out well for us, but we ended up losing that tour to Faster Pussycat, and we ended up going out with Nelson. And there wasn't a lot of place to go to at that time, but Nelson had to hit After the Rain. They had a great trajectory, a wonderful band live. And so that was a tour that I thought was a good one for us. But there was tours that we did that people don't even know about. We played plenty of shows at Cheap Trick until we our behavior got the best of us and we were kicked off that run. And then, of course, Def Leppard. We did plenty of shows with Joe and the guys. So there was really no tours where we got turned down until this year, where we were supposed to go out with Steel Panther. And I called Mike Starr, and he goes, man, what a great package that would be. Enuff Z'Nuff, Steel Panther. Let's do it. Here's my manager, Ben's number. Call him. Tell him we said okay. And then they ghosted me after that one. So the days have changed. But I think for most of the tours in the early days, we got what we were asking for.
Yeah. What did you do to get kicked off the Cheap Trick tour?
Donnie and Robin Zander, they were gone for 2 days after a show. We couldn't find them anywhere. There was no cell phones. There was nowhere to get a hold of anybody. We ended up finding them in a dilapidated club on the north side of Chicago, drinking old fashions, and that was it. The management company said, it was Mike Hurl that was running the show back then. He says, I don't think that this is a good fit for us. I can't have you guys hanging out together anymore. That was it.
Bad influence.
Sounds right.
Well,
probably fairly common on tour sometimes,
And
yeah, we certainly have been rewarded for our bad behavior in the past, but it's caught up to us quite a few times, and we were able to circle around it, get around it, make things happen where we can continue to work and play and make records. It's really a blessing from above, you guys, at the end of the day.
Amen to that. Hey, you ever think about or been approached or suggested? I'm sure I'm not the first one to say this. Writing a memoir, having a book.
I have one. I've been working on it for the last 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
We're working on a documentary as well with a director out in Milwaukee, and I think that we may have something out next year where we expose all those warts, scars, and tattoos of what Enuff Z'Nuff is all about. It's a beautiful story at the end of the day when you listen to it. and you watch it. I've seen some of it right now. Just see the trailer of it. I think it's fabulous. It's called Strength and Innocence, and the story of Enuff Z'Nuff. And I'm hoping to have it out in 2026.
Wow.
Oh, good.
That would be great. Yeah.
Well, that's coming up soon.
And the book will follow you guys. It's not easy to get anybody to write the book. I got to do it myself because it's right on the verge of X. It's really rated.
Yeah.
It's R-rated with a little tinge of X in there as well, because I'm not putting a book out that's not going to be transparent. Just can't do it.
Right.
Now I'm going to have to read it.
Well, that's what he wants. My book will be way more boring than yours.
I'm not so sure about that, Jason. Dangerous Toys has a pretty good history.
Well, I'm glad that you believe the hype.
Will you be on the Monsters of Rock cruise next year in 2026?
I'm going to see you in a few short months. Yes, I am.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to get on there with you as well, bro. And I think the Darkness will be on there too. So you'll see Justin Hawkins and the boys playing a few blistering shows as well. Black
Label Society. That'll be a slightly different one. It'll be cool, man. I look forward.
I remember sitting on the bus. I sat on the bus with Zach the last time he came through Chicago, and he's saying "Fairies Wear Boots" right in my face a cappella. He sounded exactly like Ozzy. It's incredible.
I was listening to Pride and Glory last night. I love his voice on that, man. He's
that Pride and Glory record, very underrated.
He's Lane Staley and Axl Rose and Ozzy Osbourne all rolled into one on his voice. He could have been.
You are what you eat.
Yeah, you are what you eat. Yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward to drinking coffee with you on the boat, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you too, Jason. By the way, I got Alex Kane with me right now. He sends his love to you, bro, and thanks you for all your lovely words of encouragement. Really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, man, you're a great guitar player, and I'm glad to see you out there still doing it, man. I'm a big fan.
Don't tell me. I know. Tell Chip.
Right. I'm telling everybody who will listen. How about that?
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy. Sorry.
No, it's nice that we're all out there working and moving forward, guys. It's a real miracle. If I could give a shout out before we sashay to Amanda over at ABC. Yes. Wonderful job she's doing for Enuff Z'Nuff, and of course my constituents and brothers over at Cleopatra Records, the great Brian Pereira and Matt Green. And Ken and Tim and the whole staff over there who's really broken their asses and helped us out moving this record forward. You can get the Xtra Cherries record next week, the 25th, it comes out. And I'm looking forward to crossing paths with you on the Monster Rock cruise. I'm off on the road right now, guys. We're traveling. I got Brandon Fields. He's double dipping. He's smoking blunts right now and driving the Oscar Mayer Wiener wagon. And I got Adler's cousin in the back right now. Trey Adler, he's sleeping right now. Actually, he's watching Caligula on his phone. And then my singer, who's playing with us right now and pretty tied up, L.A. Chassis from Paraguay. This guy sounds and looks like Axl in 1986. This guy's a winner.
Nice.
Wow. Well, Chip, man, we thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. The new record is called Xtra Cherries. It's exactly what you want from Chip Z'Nuff and Enuff Z'Nuff. It's more of that great melodic, instantly memorable hard rock with the pop edge that you do so well. And like I said, I've been listening to an advanced copy for the past couple days, and it just flows, man. One song goes right into the other, and it's beautiful, man. So I'm glad that you're still out there doing your thing, and that you've always been brave enough to wear your pop influences on your sleeve, even though when it maybe wasn't the flavor of the week back in the day, you've always stood by your, as you said, you are what you eat, and you are a connoisseur of great music, and it's reflected in your own. So
I can talk to you cats for a couple of hours, no problem. And Jason can confess to that too, because he knows me and him on the Monster Rock cruise, sharing cups of coffee, tweak like Pablo Escobar, that beautiful boat. Shout out to Larry Moran, by the way, as well. I'm looking forward to seeing him. He'll be lighting $100 bills with cigars, or the other way around, smoking cigars, lighting them with $100 bills, and drinking that loudmouth soup, looking for wounded shrimp. I'm looking forward to following him around the boat for about 5-6 days. It should be a good time.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Hey guys,
Thanks so much.
I hope we all live to be 100 years old, and I hope the last voice you hear be mine.
Yeah. On behalf
Appreciate
of host Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave, along with our special guest today, Chip Z'Nuff on the Talk Louder podcast. Thanks, Chip.
Thank you,
God
buddy.
bless us all. Cheers.
Yep.